All right, guys. Well, we were just talking, and no one can hear anything. But what we're talking about today is we're talking about FOMO, fear of missing out, right, in trading. So the pressure, how do traders deal with the pressure to trade every single day, and why is that pressure there? And what I was just saying is, there's kind of three things that come to mind when I think of it. Economics, right? You're making your monthly note on trading. There's a lot of pressure to do that. Two is reputational. Just part of your identity, right? You trade, you make money every day. You got to keep that going. And then three is fear of missing out. You have a feeling some big move is going to be coming. You're like, if I'm not in the markets, then I'm going to miss it. I got to be in the markets to make sure I get in on this thing.
Right.
So what do you think, boys? What is the strongest motivator for you when you guys are feeling pressured to trade?
Liner, want to start? I got plenty to say. I got so much to say about this, but I'm gonna let you. Rock out right now.
It's just harder for me because I trade different than most people.
Much so.
So
Are you saying because you're not a directional trader, you have more control over when you should trade and when
I do. I look for good orders, good paper.
Okay. And if you don't see that, you don't ever get into a situation where you start forcing shit.
No, I mean, as I'm trying to learn your directional, sometimes I get in there, but I get in there too late. So it's like you have to make a decision. Is there going to be continuation, and if not, then I just bought the top.
Right.
I sold the bottom.
Right.
So
Which happens to most retail.
yeah. So that's what I'm battling through now. So as a volatility trader, it's easier. I'll play the turns and the volatility.
All right, so that's another component to it, is strategy, right?
Right.
If your strategy is not one that allows you to be patient and trade in most market environments, right? Like for us, we're hunting for trending markets, right? Trending markets are what, 20% of the time, right?
I would say even less. Yeah, 15% of the time. Trending markets are 15% of the time. So that means if you're buying a call and you're going for a directional long position, every day is not going to look like today. Today it was just slam dunk long. You pick a stock, you buy some shit, and you come out the day with money. However, it's like 2 times out of 10 you might actually get a move like that.
Right.
Whereas the rest of the time, you're buying a call that's going to disappear in value, as soon as you get into it.
Right.
And that's the plight of most traders. Hence why we talk about, how do you manage the pressure, right, to really trade? And there's a lot of different dynamics to really bring in here. The number one thing is the sort of this is what you do factor. You have to trade every single day. This is your job. I mean, this is your fucking job. So if it's your job, you got to sit down at this desk every single day, and you got to hustle. You got to find the money, and you have to find how to get the money. Right? It's not going to be the same every single day. So some days it's slam dunk. You buy, you hold, you get this money. Other days there's a lot of fake out. There's a lot of manipulation. So you have to play the other side of it. You have to realize what's going on and play against it. You have to switch up your strategy quite often if you want to keep making money every single day. Because let's face it, buying a call or a put, and you guys who play options, you guys know right now, and throw it out on Twitter. I mean, if we're right here or we're wrong, they give us your opinions. The point blank, buying a call, going long a call, and going a put all the time, you guys know damn well it doesn't work like that.
Most are going to expire.
Most times
Worthless.
It's going to expire worthless, number one. Number two, you're going to get shaken out of these positions. You're going to buy at $1. The shit's going to go down to 15 cents. And then what are you going to do? You're going to hold it, and then it goes back to $2. So what are you going to do? So you really have to define what your strategy is, find out where it works, and then try to cut the rest of the shit out. The problem is the pressure to trade is real. It's real, just like the thirst, for a lot of things in life, right? The thirst for money, the thirst for women, the thirst for just about everything, right? And it's similar to that.
It's trying to find a balance, right?
You have to fight that urge, and some of the ways that you can do it are to shut off and be able to be disconnected or be comfortable with being disconnected from the markets. However, it's a difficult thing to accomplish because, again, this is what you're supposed to do. So the greed and the money is always there on the table.
Well, one of the things that I'm thinking about right now is, like, when you first started out, you had the mentality of, like, the money is there, I'm gonna get the money.
Right.
It's just that I'm gonna keep ramming my head into
Right.
the wall until I find a way through this fucking door and I
Right.
get through there.
Right.
And you did.
Right.
You know, and it took like a year and a half to get
Absolutely.
slapped around,
But
and you did.
that strategy requires taking a significant amount of losers.
And that's where I was gonna
A
go.
significant amount of losers.
I mean, I think there's kind of two things out of this. One, having a side hustle is never a bad thing.
Never
I mean,
a bad
unless
thing.
you guys are sitting on a
Good
pot. If you're sitting on a pot full of money,
Right.
you know, whatever, inherited or any other way you got it, like, that's one thing. But the pressure that traders, when you are forced into the market
Right.
because you have to pay your rent, that is like,
Right.
that is danger zone right there,
Right.
you know?
I mean, he brought up a great point. I mean, having a side hustle, right? Like, I always had something on the side to make sure that I was making my ends meet while I was trying to figure out how to make money. I mean, Brian, was it the same way with you? I mean, did you have
My side hustle is Thursday, Friday, whatever. And now I'm trying to learn
Right.
from you right now.
But I'm saying even before, like when you were coming up, was it just you?
Well, you were full-time employed in the pit, and yeah.
I'm the prototypical out of like
Insider.
Georgetown, and no, I'm saying like I got recruited to be a trader,
Right.
and that's all I've been. I've always had a
Right.
salary.
Right. So you were
Until
salaried,
3 years
right?
ago.
Yeah, that's a little bit different.
Right.
I
Right.
Simplex for a couple of years, but I was going to grad school.
Right.
Math.
Right. And again, like most retail guys who come into the game, like you don't have a salary, you know. And then number two, like you're trying to do this while you're working, like while you have a day job. Like you guys have a day job, and you're trying to make this shit work. It's not easy.
And I think balancing the hunger, right? Like one of the things that makes you good is that you're there. You're basically mentally present for 100% of the opportunities that
Yes.
come up, right? You're
Yes.
100% of the time you're
Yes.
scanning,
Yes.
right? Which means much fewer opportunities are going to fall through the cracks.
Right.
And it's hard to maintain that that drive, that hunger, and that ambition without turning it into pressure.
Right.
Right. And those are two different things. Like hunger to like always be searching out like where's that fucking trade? Where is the trade for the day? What can I do that matches my strategy?
Right.
That hunger is different from the pressure of I have to make a trade. I have to make a trade. I have to make a trade.
True.
Right? And I feel like for you,
True.
you evolved to understand that, and there's still times where I'm sure it gets blurry and
Very blurry, very blurry. I mean, even for myself, and these guys will tell you, you know, I mean, there's plenty of times where we'll look at the market and say, all right, you know what, there's no freaking way we're going to pull out cash right now. There's no way we should be trading right now.
Right.
And there's plenty of times we come to that conclusion. However, I'll still sit here and I will still trade. Why? Because there's an attachment to the market. There's a mental attachment to the market where you literally have to force yourself out. Even if it's just standing up, even if it's just standing up and getting out of your chair and just taking a fucking deep breath and just being like, all right, let me walk away from this stuff. You know, sometimes you have to do those things.
Right.
And you really have to know yourself. So I think the conclusion of all this is understand yourself.
Yeah.
Is understand, you know, what is it that makes you want to sit here every single second? What is it that you're looking for? Where is your strategy work? Where doesn't it work? You know, really being honest with, you know, your trading style and your identity, and then working back from there and saying, all right, you know what, these kind of markets I just suck in, and I have to really practice at, you know, taking myself out of the equation. So how do you sit there and make sure that you don't trade? You know, what are the little games that what are the little mind games that you have to play in order to sort of trick yourself into not doing anything? You know, and you're gonna have to go into that constant battle, you know, for that. I'd say the other thing that we want to say as far as pressure to trade, you know, we post a lot. I post all my gains on Twitter, you know, and this sometimes causes, you know, some issues because, I mean, we'll go on a little rant here. Huh? So oftentimes, you know, I mean, I'll post this shit on Twitter, right? And I'm a pretty good trader. We pulled in 7 figures last year. You know, I'm not looking for people to give me comments on my trades. I'm not looking for any advice on Twitter. That's not why I'm there. I'm not looking for advice. So you have all these followers with the little egg for their you know, they got 9 followers, they got 9 people following them, and they just sit there and troll. They just sit there and talk shit every single time you make a mistake. And you sit there and you read this stuff, and you're like, what the fuck is wrong with these people? And at the end of the day, it's Twitter, right? You're sitting there in front of your computer. You're not looking at me face to face. Otherwise, you wouldn't say this shit.
Oh yeah.
You know,
That's the match.
all you're doing is hitting these keys on the keyboard here, and for what value? Nobody knows. To what extent or to what end goal? Nobody knows why the hell people are doing these things. But
right.
I have to see them all the time. Even when you make money, people are still there to say, oh, you should have done this or you should have done that. Or during your down periods, people are there to say, oh, this guy trades better than you. Or this guy does it better than you, or you should do this, or you should move over to these markets and everything. And you hear this all the time. Imagine if you heard this every day, right? Imagine if you heard this every day, like you need to be doing X, Y, and Z, or you suck, or this, and all that kind of stuff. Imagine what that does to your psyche. I mean, obviously you got to learn how to not listen to it. You got to learn how to push it aside and realize like these people are just jokers anyway. But it's still there. It's still there on the feed every single day. It's noise. It's fucking noise. And at the end of the day, like a lot of that noise tends to affect how you trade. It tends to affect some of the moves that you make. It tends to affect the mentality that you have when you are trading. And all that little noise, it adds up to something. For example, like you're in a trading office. I used to have issues with all these traders around me that were just yelling out stocks and all that kind of stuff. And I couldn't deal with it. So I had to get a desk like way out in the office just so I wouldn't hear these people and blast my music all day, just so I could be in my zone. I mean, even the littlest noise could affect you, times 10.
Yeah. And
sometimes it's stupid to see it on Twitter every day. It really is. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Show me your bank account right now. If you want to give me some fucking advice, show me your bank account. Otherwise, why am I even listening to you? Why am I even talking to you? But at the end of the day, it's there. It's there. It's on the feed every single day.
And that's noise. That Twitter, chatter falls into the category of noise that everyone has to deal with, right? I mean, and for you, especially on Twitter, you get it to a greater degree because you a couple thousand followers, and if you got 1,000 people and 2 of them are herbs every day, then you got 16 for you. 8 or 16 people every day saying annoying shit.
Right.
But everybody has that noise in their lives,
Whether it's somebody telling you like you should stop doing this and you should go get a fucking job,
parents,
go be
brothers,
go be a normal person and go get a job and all that kind of stuff. Like the pressure is there for you to act every single day. Whether it's money, whether it's to prove somebody else wrong, whether it's to make sure you can perform and show your gains, show how hot shit you are to everybody. Whatever it is, that noise is there. It's present, and it forces that pressure on you to make moves, even when there's not moves there. And that can often put you in a deep hole. And let's be honest. I mean, that numerology guy who came out on Twitter and was like, he called out my demise. He's like, yo, your birthday is July 6th. After July 6th, you're fucking done. You're done. You're done, right? And he's adding numbers together. I don't know what the fuck he did. But it actually got in my head. It actually got in my head. And once you take one loss, it doesn't matter what put you there in the first place. It's almost like a flash crash, right? There's no answer to why it happened. There's no science to why it happened. There was a trigger, then there was just a snowball effect, and that's all that happened. So you can sit there and blame this person, that person, this entity, or whatever. All that shit happens, and boom, you're left with something that only after it's gotten nasty enough do you sit back and realize, like, holy shit, what the fuck just happened?
Right.
We came back and made back all those losses. But, had I not lost all that money, we would be in, we would be up 600%, 700% for the year. We'd have gains that are even way better than what I could have expected.
Yeah.
So I think this time around, especially this year, I've gotten to a place. I think I've gotten a little bit more mature about the pressures and the honesty about where my ego sometimes takes me. So therefore, if I can smoothen out some of those losses and not go into these destructive periods, whenever there's juice in the market, I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there. If I miss a couple here and there, whatever. But at the end of the year, it should reflect.
Right.
I should reflect.
And what you're talking about is sort of the evolution of your understanding of yourself, like as a trader.
Right.
Your understanding of yourself, and that's one of the things we're always talking about in the classes is you got to know. We say it a million times, but like the trading is just psychology, 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 and if you don't understand certain things about yourself, or if you're making assumptions that you think you know things about yourself but you really don't,
right,
you're putting yourself in a very precarious situation, you know. And there's you got to know the little like hacks that can help you out. I mean, Lucci got noise canceling headphones lately, you know, and I think that helps.
Yeah.
Because now we got a lot of people working out of here on a daily basis, and you know, there's noise everywhere. Like that helps, and it's or you know, getting up and walking outside and removing yourself from a perspective that's completely consumed by the markets, and actually stepping outside and be like, oh shit, there's an actual world out there, like with human beings walking around and whatnot. Like, you know, those are it's whatever. It doesn't matter how stupid it is. Like, do what you have to do in order to refresh that perspective and remind yourself of the understandings that you know you have of yourself.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And I think in terms of you know the pressure to trade, I think for as in any performance goal, right, athlete, whatever it is, we all are striving to perform for various reasons, right? And understanding those, it's not going to make it go away. Most of the time, it's not going to make it go away.
Right.
But it will at least give you awareness, right? And if you don't have awareness, how are you going to address the issue, right? You can't. So in order to have, you have to ask yourself some tough questions. Like I know a guy who was actually a basketball player at Duke who was absurd. He was very like top, you know, D1 basketball player, phenomenal. And he said that one of the breakthroughs in his psychology as an athlete was in high school. He was head case, trying to do way too much in games, stuff like that. And his coach locked him in the locker room and made him write on the board why 5 times, right?
Okay.
Why do you play basketball? And he said, you know, because I want to go to a Division I school. Why?
Right.
Because, you know, I think it's an important thing for a man to do. Why? Because my father, blah, blah, blah. Like, you know, and who knows if it's going to go to some psychoanalytic Freudian place for you guys or not.
Right.
But the question, like, the thing is, like, if you ask yourself that question, why, 5 times, it takes like 5 minutes to get to the bottom of some shit, you know, for yourself and understand, like, oh, all right, maybe I'm trying to make a bunch of money every day because that chick told me I was ugly in 2nd grade. Like, who fucking knows, right? But we do stuff for strange reasons. At least understanding this stuff, the why, will help you.
Very much so. And I don't think people reflect on that too as often as they need to. You know, especially most retail money. Hence why you get such a high attrition rate, and people come in the door and they lose $5,000 and they roll right out.
Right.
You know, so there's plenty of that going on. So, you know, as far as the pressures here, guys, it comes down to knowing yourself. It comes down to understanding more of how you work, how your mind works, especially when you are trading and you have positions on, you know, and whether your strategy is working or not. So going back to what Charlie was saying, I mean, the first approach really is asking yourself these questions, like, why do I trade? Why am I here? What am I here for? What is the goal? And if the goal is, you know, consistent profits, and you're out there trading some ICPT garbage which just ripped 100 points, you're not thinking about consistency. You're thinking about, holy shit, there's crazy money in the game right now, and I got to get a piece of it. That's all you're thinking about. You know, so it doesn't track back to what you're here for. You know, and for me, my goal this year is to make $5 million. That's my goal. And if I need to, if I can do that, or the way that I need to do that, I know is by cutting my losses. Is by cutting them down to 50,000 in a month, maybe 100,000 in a month. Because when I'm on my good streak, you know, you're talking about 7 figures on that streak. So if I can cut out, you know, losing $500,000 here and there, I can obtain that $5 million goal. So that's really what I'm going after.
Right.
You know, and it's just cut down those losses. And then as far as the pressures to trade, you know, part of that is handling those pressures. Part of that is looking at the markets and saying, yo, I can't make any fucking money today. And even if I tried, you know, sure, I might come up with something. But what's the point? What's the point? What is the point? What's the end goal here? You know, if the end goal is to make $5 million and you're looking at the market and saying there's no way I can scratch out 100 grand, then what are you trading for? You know, so it's that kind of simplistic approach to looking at it and being like, all right, you know I would usually do this in this scenario. This is what's gotten me into trouble. I got to stop doing this shit. You know.
Plus, you as you trade more and you learn to, like, you know, quiet your mind a little bit, I think, and listen to what's going on, you know the feeling.
Yes.
Right? You know the feeling
Yes.
of when you're pushing it,
Yes.
when you shouldn't be, and you
Absolutely.
know the feeling of, like, all right, I'm in the fucking zone, you know, and this is a good place to be in. And whether, no matter what you're doing, trading, athletes, writer, like, you know that feeling. You just have to
Definitely.
to listen to it. I mean, Brian, did you guys have in the pit? Did you know a lot of guys who just succumbed to the need to just be like, I have to trade?
I mean,
Because
guys,
they were there. I mean, they're physically there. Right? You could not be more surrounded by it.
there's a
Right?
couple, some like independent guys that want to be bigger and just
Right.
go for it.
Right.
They would
Right.
do it. Guys that were in a company like me, no.
Right.
No, because they're salaried, and it's a different ball.
But then there's like a head trader from Knight, and he was like a big ego guy. He wanted to be the alpha guy,
Right.
and so he would like do stupid shit. Sometimes he put on big sides before moving, do the right thing.
Yeah.
This is Vol. One time, I remember it was great because I was hammered the night before, and I just met like an ex-girlfriend.
Oh,
And-
rekindling that. See, you can't
Yeah.
go there, man. You
An
can't
ex
do it,
whatever. It
man.
doesn't matter. It's a funny story. And so my clerk called me up. It's Central Time. She called me up at 9 o'clock. She's like, Wiener, where the fuck are you? I'm like, isn't it Saturday? She's like, get to work right now. They were gonna fire me.
Like, how far into it were you? How many years have you been there?
It was like 05, but like it was so they were looking for any reason to fire anyone.
Right. Okay.
So what happened was awesome was that Globex mini options were trading at the time.
Okay.
Some guy was bidding 75 over my value for like a 6-month out put or whatever. There was 75 cents of edge. So the guy from Knight was like, whatever. Like I went through a broker to put a trade to see what the market is in the pit. He's
Right.
like, I'm at 15. It was 15.75 bid on the screen.
Yeah.
I made 20 grand in like 2 seconds. My boss was like, all right, have a good weekend. So I was like,
How much of that 20 grand did you pocket?
Well, I mean, I had my job and a bonus, so
God damn
it was whatever, man. It was a bigger company.
True.
Not overhead.
True. All right, guys. So that's the spiel here. Take away from it what you needed to. If you guys have any questions, you know where to hit us up. Lucci at sanglucci.com, and also you can send us your questions to mailbag at sanglucci if you want us to do a shout out for you for our Q&A sessions on Thursday. Anything else?
Which, by the way, guys, we're going to do it on Thursday
Oh, yeah,
during
we're gonna do
lunch
it in
this time around at 12:30,
Yeah.
right? Seems like people like to kind of dip in during market hours, so we're going to try that out 12:30
Cool.
this Thursday.
Cool. Oh, and then this fossil thing. We were talking about it on Twitter here. I mean,
Does anyone own a
who
fossil
wears
watch?
fossil? Like, you wear fossil watches if you're in high school, and that's like the first watch
Dude,
that
I
you
rocked
buy.
it 8th grade. I had
Yeah.
two fossil watches.
You get the
They
little
were
yellow.
cool.
You get the little yellow bezel and thing.
No,
Whatever.
I had a white,
You get that metal
face,
band
white
with
one.
it, too.
Exactly. Yeah, and then you stop wearing this stuff. But I didn't realize Fossil makes watches for Michael Kors, makes watches for
It's like a white label.
a lot of other companies, and I don't know how that happens. But come on, seriously, guys, stop wearing Fossil watches. Stop wearing Fossil watches. This is the watch that I'm wearing now. All right, this is called. Can you see this nicely here? Can you see it right there?
That's really tight.
It's got a nice red leather band here. It's called the Aromatic 1912, stainless steel.
You can't tell time.
I paid $100. Mechanic, it's got that mechanic look to it, and then this is all manual, right? So it's not an automatic set thing.
But see, you gotta wind it up.
You gotta wind it
The
up.
leather band's still around?
You gotta wind it up.
Oh yeah, dude, leather
All right.
bands. They're
People
big.
do that shit.
All right,
Oh, yeah.
class.
I haven't worn a watch
Class.
in a
Step up
decade.
your watch game here, people.
Or you could just be a
If
fucking.
you're wearing
you got
a Fossil-
smartphone, you know.
Come on. If you're wearing
Use a
Fossil, if you're wearing a Swatch, all right, if you're wearing an iPhone watch, you're fucking hurt.
iPhone watch.
Fucking hurt.
Is that out?
I don't know. Is it
Apple
out? I
Watch?
think it's out. I think
No,
it's
no,
out.
no. Samsung's got that thing or whatever, right?
All right.
All right, guys. So we'll see you. We'll see you guys on Thursday. Happy trading, everybody.
Peace.
Later.